The disconnect may be caused by the self-blame that survivors frequently experience. The mind cringes from the lack of physical resistance offered by the child victim. If only the child had been strong enough to say no. Now the adult mind refuses to succumb to the vulnerability of the innocent child. To disconnect from the inner child is to disconnect from the body. The mind of a survivor of sexual abuse also feels betrayed if the body responded with arousal during the sexual experience, during the sexual abuse. Sometimes victims have orgasms with violators. This is likely to occur with the long-term sexual abuse after victims are groomed. The child may even begin to look forward to the physical contact if they have been trained to do so. Hell, if we can train an elephant to jump through a ring of fire for peanuts, surely we can train a child to succumb to a violator. Here's what I want you to definitively know today. I want you to know that arousal is a physiological experience. It is not a decision that a child makes. Children's bodies are capable of receiving pleasure long before their minds understand anything about sexual arousal, sexual consent, or partnering. There's a reason that the average age of onset of sexual abuse is 8 years old. Most violators groom their victims early enough before they can understand what is happening. Once children have been violated at an earlier age, the tendency is to offer less resistance to subsequent violators. So the average survivor is violated by 3 perpetrators before the age of 18. This is all the stuff we try not to talk about. I want you to know that it is every adult's responsibility to keep children safe, not exploit their innocence by exposing them to sexuality in any way. That includes viewing sexually explicit behaviors or participating in them. Children do not have the developmental capacity to make decisions regarding sexuality because they cannot understand future consequences. As an example, here we are, dealing with the future consequences, living in turmoil. If some of us could go back in time, we would respond with what we now know. We would tell, no matter what the consequences. We would run away or fight. We would go to the police. We would at least scream, but we didn't because we didn't know, because we couldn't know. A child's mind cannot reach into the future, cannot understand how a person's actions will affect their future. So 85% of violators do not disclose during childhood because we couldn't tell our future. Unfortunately, as we age and begin to understand the gravity of what happened to us, we begin to play back the scenes in our heads. We see our child body being held hostage as we depart from it. We abandon the house to avoid the child that died there. But survivors of childhood sexual abuse aren't the only ones who abandon their houses. We live in a culture where at least probably half of the population is living outside of their bodies, given the rates of heart disease, obesity, sexually transmitted diseases, and violence perpetrated from one body to another. Capitalism thrives off of this abandonment and disconnect. It sells products that might otherwise be useless if people were present in their bodies. Diet pills that prevent hunger, since you are too disconnected from your body to know when it has taken in enough calories. Body fat monitors to tell you if it's okay to love yourself, because looking in a mirror won't connect you to your true self. calorie counters that tell us what to eat because we are disconnected from our hunger sensations. The latest fad is the gadget that tells you if you've taken enough steps to be healthy in one day. For we are too disconnected to pay attention to our own breathing, our own fatigue, or symptoms of injury. We are always willing and waiting for someone or something outside of ourselves to feed us information instead of going within. Never is the feedback from any of these devices that you are enough. You may re-enter your body now. Here's the big problem with relying on feedback from outside of yourself. It doesn't